Hi everyone, today I am so very lucky to be here to interview the incredible Hannah Van Didden.
Thank you.
I met Hannah when she was a writer in residence at the PCWC whilst I was doing a writing course. Hannah has had a few of her short stories published in anthologies, journals. They are gripping, thrilling and leave the reader wanting more. Hannah is an inspirational author to me because of her strong female leads and stories, and the fact that she runs workshops and makes time to talk to her fans, as well as pushing forward to write her first ever novel, which she's working on now. Hannah, thank you so much for letting me grill you. That's like.
Thank you, Amani. Lovely to be here.
It's wonderful to have you here.
Excellent.
Are you ready to get started?
Surely am.
Since I know you and I get along with you, I'm going to throw you under the bus first with this question. What is the most embarrassing moment you have had during your time as an author and presenter?
There are many to choose from, and I think that probably the most embarrassing time was when I was giving a radio interview for RTR. It was part of my residency for FAWA, and I really had no idea of what to expect. I'd never done a radio interview before, and I had no responses ready for the questions. All I had in my head was I have to promote the centre and what we're doing there, and that's pretty much all I did. So it's pretty embarrassing because if you were to find the interview now and listen to it, it's pretty terrible. So that was pretty embarrassing because it went out to lots of people.
Everyone has bad radio interviews. My first ever one was horrible. I'm so glad that you edited it.
I'm sure it wasn't that bad.
Well, if you had seen it before I was edited, you would have been like, bad. I got up there, forgot everything I had to say. Everything.
Yeah, sounds like me.
Where did the inspiration for the man with the purple halo come from? It seems like a metaphor about love and relationships and expectations, and it seems a bit deep.
When I wrote that story, I just had a really a hard relationship breakup, and I was feeling a little bit jaded and wondering if it was me, if the problem was me. And so I kind of wrote that story. You're quite right, it is about love and relationships, and hopefully a little bit deep, but also combined images that I'd seen in my everyday life. Like there really was a guy with a purple halo who sold the big issue at the front of the walkway to my work at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
An actual halo?
Yeah, it was kind of a repurposed coat hanger with like purple fuzz, so it actually sat above his head, and it was probably just a bit lighter than your hair colour, and from memory it also had a bit of silver thread through it as well, so it was kind of specky. But then one day he just wasn't there, and so that kind of twisted its way into my story. So there were a few different threads, but it was inspired by heartbreak. Yeah. Sorry, I just totally pulled down the tone.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to figure out how to respond. My thoughts are leaving my brain temporarily. But yeah, that sounds really fascinating, because I was like, it's deep, it's got a lot of this. You pretty much just summed up everything I was about to say, so that's why I didn't respond.
Excellent. So pleased.
Where did you get the inspiration for... Sorry, another inspirational question I'm asking. Where did you get the inspiration for what happens in Amsterdam? Because the ending was not at all I expected. I thought she was meeting like a lover or a new friend, and I was like, wait a minute, what happened there? Just like flipped my entire perspective on the story.
With that one, I had an idea in mind, and when it finished, I had a different feeling about it. So sometimes, actually most of the time when I start a story, I don't know exactly where it's going. I might have a thread of an idea, or I might have picked up some sort of inspiration from somewhere, and I don't necessarily have a plan for where it's going. So with that one in particular, I was actually thinking about her organising a hit on someone that she didn't want to have around anymore. Hence the missing wedding ring and the band still in her finger. But then, you know, after I finished it, to me it felt more like there was perhaps more feeling there that it might have been, something that is a bit topical today around assisted dying. So losing a loved one who was perhaps in so much pain they felt they couldn't go on. So that's kind of where it felt like it went to me afterwards. But again, bringing the tone down. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You're doing perfectly fine. That seems very deep, a lot deeper than I thought it was. Because, I think it seemed really she was putting a hit on something. She didn't want to see anyone else. There was maybe a bit more deeper meaning.
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of short fiction, and particularly with microfiction. I feel like, with microfiction you've got such a short space to get a story across, and sometimes it's in what's not said that you get a lot of the story. So, I'm talking to you very frankly about where those ideas for those stories and the inspiration came from my perspective, but whatever you get out of it as a reader, if it's something completely different, well then that's okay and that's right as well, because we are all at our own perspectives to what we read.
Exactly, it just all depends on perspective.
Exactly, and I can't feel like I should correct your perspective, because once I've got it out there, it's no longer mine.
Exactly, it's for everyone to read.
Yeah, it belongs to you.
When you are a rich and famous author, what is something for no apparent reason you're just going to want to spend money on?
I have a feeling that day may be a little far off, but if I think about it, what I might want to spend money on now, a lot of it focuses on my family and friends and fulfilling what they might need or what they might want. So making sure that my parents are comfortable or that my husband perhaps has that yacht that he keeps dreaming about. But I've also had an idea about contributing to or starting a foundation that helps kids who perhaps don't have as much as I did when I was growing up, because I realised I was in a pretty, even though I felt like we didn't have a lot, I think a lot of kids feel that, but I grew up in a pretty privileged place, a pretty privileged position. So, in Australia we're very lucky that we've got, all of the opportunities open to us that we do. I'd like to be able to open that up to others.
It's incredible that you would use that money to help the kids.
Of course, this is all speculative because I'm not a rich and famous author.
But if you would ever get that money, that's amazing that you would had an initiative to do that.
Yeah, I hope one day.
I'm sure you will. You'll definitely become a rich and famous author. I believe in you.
Aw, thanks, Money. I think you might get there first.
I'm sure you started earlier than me.
I'm learning that it doesn't matter when you start. It's
True, it depends on the popularity.
And the journey you take is going to be so different too.
Exactly, because you can get two people same age, same cultural background, but it depends on the journey that you take. It depends on what you do to achieve that.
Yeah, absolutely.
What story has been your favourite to write? The one you felt more connected to whilst you were writing?
I feel like you're asking me to choose a favourite child.
I got that response so many times. Because it's true, books are like children. Stories are like children.
Whether it's a story, whether it's a book, I'm in that moment with that story when I'm writing it. So I can't tell you what is more favourite. Some have been cathartic, so like a release, and others have been joyous, others have been a bit of fun, some of them have been a bit deeper, but what I've learned is that I enjoy the process a lot more if I'm not trying so hard. So that means that I have to be authentic to my ideas and my stories, and I have to trust where they're going and where they're taking me, not necessarily direct it too much.
That's cool. Sorry, my brain just farted. Sorry.
I thought I heard it.
What workshops have you enjoyed running the most? I know that's kind of similar to the book question.
Yeah, kind of, but I think I feel a bit like I'm still learning so much as a writer myself, that the ones around like how to write, I feel to me it feels artificial, because everyone has inspiration from different places. So I enjoy them and I enjoy connecting with the people who come to my workshops, but I probably enjoy most the ones that are around the writing process, because sometimes like where we have a bit of a block or we're feeling like we might be a bit stifled in our ideas, sometimes it's just good to have different techniques and different tools to help us to work through those blocks, because sometimes it is just a matter of keeping on going. You know, it's a journey, it's a process, and it's work as well as it is joy as well. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because everyone has the writer's blocks. Everyone has it, and it's just like trying to power through and get to the next story.
Yeah. So you have good days and you have bad days, and you just keep writing anyway. And sometimes you don't get so many gems that you can use, but it's about the process.
I definitely agree with you. I can definitely relate to the bad days. Bad writer's block. So now on to the speed questions.
Okay.
What are you writing at the moment?
At the moment I'm doing a lot of editing of novels, and hopefully it's towards a good end, but also writing smaller fictions at the same time to keep me fresh. So yeah, just a few microfictions at the same time.
Well, I hope the editing process is going well. I know that can be a bit annoying.
I actually, if I get in the right frame of mind, it's enjoyable, so I actually can enjoy it. Because it's just a different brain that you use.
Yeah, you have like the creative brain and then you have the editing brain.
Yes, and you've got to be careful not to switch them both on at the same time, or you can end up crossing everything out you've just written.
Yeah. You have to write and then edit, because otherwise you'll go, oh right, and it gets muddled. What's your favourite ice cream flavour?
My favourite ice cream flavour changes, but if it's freshly made, it's pistachio. It looks like it should be mint, but it's not, and that's wonderfully confusing.
Because you're like, oh, it's mint, and it's like, oh, no,
I know. But still good.
What's your favourite story you've written? I know I'm dropping the bomb on again.
Oh man, that's a tough question. There are so many favourites. I think I like anything that gets me thinking in a different way, and the first one that pops to mind at the moment is a kid's book called 13 Words. It's by Lemony Snicket. It's a really cool book, and it's really weird, and I love that.
That sounds fascinating. Might have to look into it.
I think you should. Available at the library, I'm sure.
I'll have to check.
Yeah.
I will never speak of that again. How long does it usually take you to write one of your stories?
It really depends on the story. So if it's a short story, then I might get the bones of it written all at once, and I try to do that. So get most of it out, so I know where the inspiration has come from, and what I thought it would lead to, and what it needs to say. And then I might come back and finish it later, but very often I'll write out a whole story. So I'll just find a chunk of time, whether it could be 10 or 15 minutes for a microfiction, or it could be several hours. So sometimes I'll wake up with an idea and I've learnt not to ignore them. So it could be like midnight till 3 a.m. writing a short story as a first draft.
Well, it definitely really depends.
Yeah.
Because it depends on like your comfort zone of writing. If you're not used to writing sci-fi, it takes longer.
Yeah, there's definitely a research component to it as well. So if it's something that I'm not used to writing, or if I feel it's linked to something that's real, then I'll do research as well. But I try to do the writing first if I can, and then the research, so that I'm not disrupting the creative process.
Who was your favourite or most inspirational author?
I've got a few. Where to start? I think that we've got some amazing authors in Australia. In WA, we've got a really great writer scene. It's really collegiate and it's really generous. So I could name authors like Ken Spillman and Annabelle Smith, Rashida Murphy, others who are up and coming like Sue Brigieri and Joe Taylor. And there are so many more. Natasha Lester is another incredibly inspiring author. She always has time for people, and I've I've learned a lot from all of these different writers.
Yeah, it's so hard to choose because we have an incredible array of several authors.
Oh, there's an amazing number,
There's
and
so many.
it's mind blowing.
It's like, how do you pick?
Yeah. So I have, and then you look at overseas authors too, and a name that comes to mind is Karen Joy Fowler, because she writes sci-fi and she writes literary, and she's just so versatile. Margaret Atwood as well, for the same sort of thing. Writing across genres, I tend to, really go for authors and respect authors who try different things with their writing.
Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Oh my goodness, that's such a tough question. I love both, but cats. Cats.
It's okay. It's okay. We can still be friends.
Okay, alright.
Do you prefer ebooks or hard books? This is the main question.
This is not a hard question at all. A hard copy. I have to be able to feel it. I have to smell it.
You have to feel it. You have to smell it. It's just...
You're reading between the lines. The white space means so much. You don't have the control that.
The spine.
Yes, the spine and the cover. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful cover, but
it's the cover.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, I'm totally.
Hard copies.
Yeah, a hard copy. Ebooks if I'm traveling, but I still find it very difficult.
Yeah,
I find it tough to get into it in the
or
same
something
way.
and you're in the middle of it. It's like someone coming in while you're reading a hard copy and turning off the light.
Yeah.
If your battery goes out.
That used to happen when I was, 10. But I'm an adult. I should be able to pick when I read a book, surely.
Surely. It happened to me when I was reading up to 2 a.m. They were like, put your book back in.
Yeah.
Like,
I'll have to give you some tips on how to keep that habit hidden.
I'll talk to you later then.
Okay.
We'll talk to you after the question.
Sorry, Mum.
Where's your favourite place to write?
Oh, that changes as well. But I've learned that I am best writing either in a cafe where there's lots of white noise around me. So as long as there's not big noise, then I'm great with writing with just the ambient noise around me. Otherwise, at home facing a blank wall. I can't have too much exciting stuff going on around me, otherwise I get distracted.
I'm the same, because it's like, there's something happening. What's something happening?
What's that over there? Oh, there's food.
Yeah, if I had food, I'd just be like, here I'm writing
Yeah.
a word.
It's very easy to gain weight when writing long pieces.
Because you're like, what do I write? I'm stumped. Ooh, food.
Yes, maybe chocolate and chips will give me inspiration. I think that will... Ice cream. Pistachio. Yum.
Do you remember the first book you ever read? Or if you don't remember it, what was your favourite book?
I don't remember the very first book that I read, and I remember a lot of, very vaguely, I remember childhood books that my mum read to me, or my grandparents read to me. But I remember the first book I really got into was Anne of Green Gables. So, and that got me into the whole suite of L.M. Montgomery. And, that was, Anne of Green Gables was definitely the one that I remember most.
I've heard of it. I haven't read it though.
Yeah. If you read it these days, there is a lot that is not probably very politically correct about certain characters. So maybe read it with a parent as well. Don't take it as a guide for life.
I won't. You learn to not take books as a guide for life after you read Harry Potter and discover that.
Yeah, I know.
Harry Potter, and you're like, where's my Hogwarts letter?
And why does my one not work? Darn it. I'll figure out a way.
What would you have to say your biggest achievement is?
I would probably... do you mean in terms of writing?
Writing, person, whatever you choose.
I think that's probably still to come. And I guess my perspectives on that have changed a lot over the years, but I think it's not about one thing, it's about the sum total. of your life, and I won't know that until I get to the end. So it's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? I'm not really giving you an answer.
It's okay. It's okay.
There's good stuff happening all the time, but I feel like it's all towards, whatever this life is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone's perspective. It's like you
Yeah.
think that you believe that the biggest achievement is something that's in the end. Some people believe it's something that comes along the way. Everyone's different.
And you judge things differently over time as well.
Exactly.
So there are things that you think, oh, I'm so proud of that moment, and then something will come along years later. It'll make you see that in a completely different light. So I find it really, again, non-committal, but I find it very difficult to say there's one thing. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, stay non-committal.
You don't have to ask if it's okay. It's your answer.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do you have any big goals for the future? Any new writing being released soon?
Yeah, I always have shorter things being published, which I feel very fortunate about. But I hope one day someone will like one of my novels enough to publish them. So that would be lovely.
I'm sure someone will pick you up. Your writing's absolutely amazing.
Oh, thanks, Amani.
Don't worry. If the publishers don't get back to you, it's their fault for not taking your amazing stories.
It's such a subjective business as well.
I know, 'cause they nitpick little things.
And you just don't know what's going to resonate with different people too.
Because you change it for one person, then you send it to the other, and they're like, no, change it back.
I've had a couple of experiences like that where I've sent pieces off to like a journal or like a magazine, and the editors got back to me with some really scathing comments, and then it's got picked up by the next place with no edits or low edits, and it really points out to me the fact that if you get really scathing comments, then obviously you've hit a nerve somewhere and you're probably on the right track, so stick to that track. And if it's true to yourself, if you're writing authentically for you, and you can go back to that piece and go, oh yeah, I actually still really like this piece, and I want to see it published. Well then, put yourself behind your work and back yourself. It's a tough road to try and get published, but I'm learning that it's very rarely personal.
Yeah, because it just depends on if, you might edit it, and it's like, yeah, it really depends on the people that you send it to.
Yep, definitely. And you can't get inside their heads.
Exactly, you don't know what they'll be expecting. Do you have any advice for young writers?
That's a really, it's a tough question in some ways and an easy one in others, because I think there are a couple of things that you can do as a young writer. The very first thing is read. Like reading other people's work and the way that, the things that you like, looking at different things like characters and pacing and plot and, how people structure their work. You can learn a lot from that just by the reading, so you just pick it up just in reading. And so definitely read. Another is write as much as you can and don't judge it. The time for judging comes when you want to put it out somewhere and you kind of weigh up a piece and you test the waters with other people. So don't judge your work and write what is authentic to you. So important to listen to others, yes, and take on feedback, but make sure that you're keeping the essence of what keeps you writing in the first place, that you keep hold of that magic yourself.
Amazing advice. Definitely important advice. Thank you so much for letting me interview you.
Thanks, Amani. I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
So I will post the links to your website in the comments of the post.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you.
And like and share the video so you can share how amazing Hannah is.
Thank you.